I started drawing in 2010. Throughout the years I've mostly done black and white drawings. And most of those have been done with graphite. I've done a lot of color portraits and digital drawings over the years. But black and white portraits have always been what I see as my specialty. Over the years I've found a lot of different techniques to help me improve, but I've also put together my own little preferred group of tools that help me get my best results. Now obviously these aren't the only tools you can use to get good results. You can make good art with all sorts of different art supplies of different brands and different prices. These are just the ones I've compiled. But with that being said, let's have a look at them. A ruler and a mechanical pencil. Nice and simple. I use these to do my grids. I use a mechanical pencil because it's a reliably thin lead which helps me stop the grid lines from getting in the way too much. I'd also recommend doing the grid lines as lightly as you can, to stop them from being too dark and stop them from leaving indentations. A random pencil for the outline. This is just a random recycled pencil I got years ago. I'm not sure what grade it is. I think it might be HB. But just like with the grid lines, I try not to use too hard of a grade to prevent indentations that can make the drawing difficult later on. Graphite pencils. These are the Derwent graphite pencils. I've used these pencils for the whole time I've been drawing and I love them. They are just good quality graphite pencils. I've got a couple of packs, and mine range from 4H to 9B. I use them in pretty much every single black and white drawing I've ever done. But sometimes graphite struggles with getting dark tones, and can get really shiny and reflective. That's where these pencils come in. These are the pencils I use for my smooth matte dark tones. The steeplers are part carbon part graphite, and I'm not entirely sure what the Faber-Castells are made of, but I've done a comparison drawing and they match up really nicely with each other and look almost identical. They are both great at getting really nice dark tones, and they help add a whole new level of contrast and quality to my graphite drawings. You can see here how they match up together really nicely. The right half was done with the Faber-Castells, and the left was done with the steeplers. And here you can see the difference between carbon pencils and standard graphite. But what do I use to blend the pencil once I've drawn with them? Blending stumps and tissues. I've spent most of my art life using tissues to blend my pencils. And it works in general, but it can be hard to be precise and work on tiny details. Especially with some of my smaller drawings. This is where blending stumps are really useful. They do the same job but they do it much more precisely and delicately. They help blend all those tiny little areas and get my drawings looking nice and smooth without wiping out the details. Also, when the stumps get unclean and covered in graphite, I can use them for really soft details. And when they get too unclean, I use sandpaper. It's pretty simple. I just rub them on the sandpaper and it scrapes off the part of the stump with pencil on, leaving a relatively clean part underneath. They don't look that clean, but you can see here there's a big difference in what gets left behind on the page when you use them. Next we have erasers. Erasers might seem boring but they can be really important and incredibly helpful. Aside from a simple standard eraser, I also use 2 mechanical erasers and 2 electric erasers. All 4 of these erasers were a huge help to my artwork from the moment I started using them. They are great at getting clear, precise and tiny highlights, and with the difference in sizes and 2 of them being manual and 2 being electric, they can really help give a great range of details and tones. Now for a big one that might not seem like a big one but for me is a very big one. What to do when your pencils get blunt. You need a sharpener, obviously, and there are plenty about. But I used to have so much trouble with sharpeners. They'd all break my pencil leads and they'd go blunt really quickly. It took so much fun out of the process of drawing. Then I found this. The Derwent Helical Sharp Point Sharpener. This sharpener is amazing, and it honestly saved my love of drawing. Being able to keep my pencils sharp helps so much when improving my work, and this gets them so damn pointy. Plus the way helical sharpeners work means that the blades put less sideways pressure on the pencil leads, which helps prevent them from breaking as often, which then helps to prevent more damage going down the core of the lead. Helical sharpeners are my hero. I love it. The only time it's ever failed me was when I thought it had broken because I was turning the handle the wrong way. Now for a tool I don't use as often, but when I do use them they are very useful. Embossing tools. The purpose of these is to leave indentations in the page so that when you run a pencil over them it leaves the indented area clean and blank. They are useful for bright white highlights like little reflections in the eyes, flyaway hairs, and other thin fiddly highlights. Like I said, I don't use them very often, but they really help when I do. They helped me so much when I was drawing Stan Lee's hair. Finally we have paper. Paper was another thing that I used to think didn't matter as much as it does. I used to just think paper is paper and there was nothing to it. And for sure, you can absolutely make great pieces of art on paper that's not very high quality. But it's interesting how much difference you can get from decent paper. I mostly use Strathmore nowadays. I love their range. They've got papers made for different mediums. They've got different colors. I haven't used a lot of these yet, but I'm hoping to get into them soon. And they've got a few different price categories, ranging from good affordable paper to the pricier top tier stuff. Different papers work better for different mediums. The difference in the tooth of the surface and the thickness and weight of the pages can lend itself to different types of pencils or paints or markers. These aren't black and white drawings, but they are a good example of the difference between a smoother and a rougher paper surface. The vellum has more texture and can have more white dots come through if you're not careful, but it's better at taking certain mediums. Whereas the smooth surface paper has a much smoother texture but can struggle with some mediums due to not having enough tooth. I've found that graphite generally works well with most types of paper, but my favorite paper to use for black and white drawings so far has been the Strathmore 300 series Bristol Smooth Surface. I like the smooth surface because you don't get as many little white dots from the paper texture as you do with other types. But I have also had a lot of fun with the 400 series medium surface papers. The rougher surface of the paper works to give it a nice bit of extra texture and it feels great. But there's something about the smoother paper that I really like. And there you go. My collection of tools for black and white drawings. It's taken me 12 years to figure out this setup, but I'm really happy with the results I get with these tools, and hopefully they can help you out as well. Let me know what art tools you like to use. And let me know if you'll be trying out any of these. And remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and want to see more. Thanks for watching.